Every day your business loses money not because of bad decisions, but because work gets stuck between steps. An invoice sits in someone's inbox. A customer waits too long for a reply. A report takes 3 people and half a day to assemble. Today, I am going to show you how end-to-end workflow automation removes those bottlenecks so your business runs faster, cheaper, and with fewer mistakes. Here is something most small business owners already feel but rarely measure. The biggest waste of time in your company is not the work itself. It is the space between tasks. Think about what happens when a new customer places an order. Someone receives the order by email. Then they copy the details into a spreadsheet or a system. Then they notify the warehouse or the team responsible for fulfillment. Then someone else creates an invoice. Then another person follows up on payment. Each of those handoffs is a potential delay. Each one depends on someone being available, remembering to act and doing it correctly. Now multiply that across dozens of orders, support requests, and internal tasks every single week. You end up with hours of invisible waiting time, work that is technically in progress, but not actually moving. And the real cost goes beyond wasted hours. Delayed invoices mean slower cash flow. Slow customer responses lead to lost sales. Manual data entry introduces errors that take even more time to fix later. Most small businesses operate with these friction points every day. They have become so normal that nobody even questions them anymore. But they add up, and they are exactly the kind of problem that automation solves best. So what does end-to-end workflow automation actually mean? Let me keep it simple. Right now, most businesses automate individual tasks. Maybe you have a template for invoices. Maybe you use a scheduling tool for social media. Those are helpful, but they are isolated. End-to-end automation connects the entire process from start to finish. Instead of automating one step and then handing it off to a person who triggers the next step, the system handles the full sequence automatically. Think of it like a conveyor belt in a factory. Each station does its job and passes the item forward without anyone needing to carry it by hand. AI makes this even more powerful because it can handle steps that used to require human judgment. It can read an email and understand what the customer is asking. It can categorize a support ticket by urgency. It can pull data from different sources and compile a report without anyone clicking a button. The result is that work flows continuously from beginning to end. No waiting, no forgotten steps, no bottlenecks caused by someone being out of the office or buried in other tasks. And you do not need to be a technical expert to set this up. The tools available today are designed for business owners, not software engineers. Let me walk you through a real scenario. Say you run a small online store, and you receive between 30 and 50 customer emails per day. Questions about shipping, return requests, order status updates, product inquiries. Right now, someone on your team reads each email, figures out what it is about, checks the relevant system for information, writes a response, and sends it. That process takes anywhere from 3 to 8 minutes per email. With end-to-end automation, here is what happens instead. An email arrives. The AI reads it and identifies the type of request. If it is a shipping status question, the system automatically checks the tracking information and drafts a response with the current delivery estimate. If it is a return request, the system generates a return label and sends the customer instructions along with a confirmation. For more complex questions that genuinely need a human, the system routes the email to the right team member with all the relevant context already attached. No searching through order histories. No switching between tabs and systems. The person on your team now only handles the cases that truly require their attention. Everything else is resolved automatically in seconds instead of minutes. When you do the math on 50 emails a day, even saving just 3 minutes per email gives you back over 2 hours of productive time every single day. Now let me show you another area where bottlenecks quietly drain your resources. Invoicing. In many small businesses, creating and sending invoices is a multi-step process that involves pulling information from different places. You check what was delivered or completed. You look up the pricing. You enter the details into your invoicing tool. You send it to the client. Then you track whether it was paid. If it was not, you send a reminder. Each of those steps is a potential delay. And when invoices go out late, payments come in late. That is a direct hit to your cash flow. With end-to-end automation, the process works like this. When a project is marked as complete or a product is shipped, the system automatically pulls the relevant details, generates the invoice, and sends it to the client. No one needs to remember. No one needs to copy and paste information. The system then monitors payment status. If payment has not arrived within your defined terms, it sends a polite reminder automatically. If payment is still outstanding after a second reminder, it flags the account for your attention. You go from a process that depends on someone finding time in their busy day to a process that runs itself on schedule every single time. And because the data flows directly from your records, there are fewer errors, no mistyped amounts, no invoices sent to the wrong address, no missing line items. So what does this look like in real numbers? Businesses that implement end-to-end workflow automation typically see three measurable improvements. First, time savings. Tasks that used to take your team hours each week now happen in the background. Customer responses go out faster. Invoices are sent the same day. Reports are generated on demand. Across a small team, this can free up 10 to 20 hours per week. That is time your people can spend on work that actually grows the business. Second, fewer errors. When data moves automatically between systems, there is no manual entry to introduce mistakes. Invoices are accurate. Customer records stay up to date. Reports reflect real numbers. This reduces the time spent fixing problems and improves the trust your clients and partners have in your operations. Third, lower operating costs. When your existing team can handle a higher volume of work without adding headcount, your cost per transaction goes down. You scale your output without scaling your payroll. For a small business, that difference can be significant over the course of a year. And there is a less tangible but equally important benefit. Your team stops spending their days on repetitive administrative work and starts focusing on tasks that require creativity, judgment, and personal connection. That shift changes how people feel about their jobs and how effectively they contribute. Let me bring this together. Every small business has bottlenecks, places where work slows down, because it depends on a person to move it from one step to the next. End-to-end workflow automation eliminates those gaps. It connects your processes from start to finish so that work flows continuously, accurately, and without delay. You do not need to automate everything at once. Start with one process that causes the most friction. Maybe it is customer support. Maybe it is invoicing. Maybe it is your weekly reporting. Identify where time gets wasted, set up the automation, and measure the result. Once you see the impact on one process, expanding to others becomes a straightforward decision. The businesses that operate most efficiently are not the ones with the biggest teams. They are the ones that make sure work never stops moving. If you found this useful, consider subscribing to the channel. I share practical strategies for using AI automation to save time and reduce costs in your business. No hype, just clear, actionable guidance you can apply right away. I will see you in the next one.